And I would say don't be shy about that either, because that's one mistake I made was I was always too scared to ask people for assistance in these matters. And I think that people are always willing to help, as we discussed last week. So, and then in this first paragraph, I also added just like the, kind of like the bang, like just the big thing, the most exciting recent thing that I need people to know. If they don't finish reading this bio, that first paragraph has everything. So I added a recent award and just some stuff about a recent record. And then in this second paragraph here, you can see I'm listing people that I work with. Almost every class that I've taken and every book that I've read or resource that I've found on writing bios has said, do not list, do not list. And I just don't, I'm just not following. I'm just going with my own flow here. For me, in the world that I'm in the work that I'm doing, I'm not headlining festivals like Wynton Marsalis or Christian McBride at this point. So it's for me, I need people to kind of get a frame of reference for who I'm working with and who I play for, because I may be a side person with some of those people, but if I can't help someone to make the connection, I think it might do me a disservice. So for me, I'm okay with this list. I would just, encourage you to keep it kind of as short as possible, as succinct as possible, and really put the most important things in that list. Then I'm scrolling down here in my third paragraph. This is where I'm adding kind of some back end info, like where I'm from, where I did my education, and any standing relationships I have with organizations or partnering with different festivals, things like that. Then I have some sponsorships and my social media and contact info. This is one thing that I did not do for several years, adding my info at the end. And so if you do have a bio and you don't already have this in there, pop that on there. It just makes it easy for people to find you. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here and just walk us through what did I do to expand to the Medium bio here. So I have a similar first paragraph, that same catch sentence, the catchy sentence, the same quote, and the same highlights that I want people to know. Here in the second paragraph, I elaborated on some venues and festivals that I've played. So sort of took it up a notch in terms of what I've done, trying to show people. And I have to tell you, it feels kind of weird to like walk people through my bio because I don't usually like to talk about what I'm up to. So here we are, just everyone's looking. That's fine. Third paragraph, same thing here. We've got the people that I work with, and I have to tell you, I love all of these people. I feel very lucky, very, very lucky. And then in this next paragraph, same thing, education and any standing relationships. And I just added a little bit more there in terms of education, perhaps my mission. So it's not too much longer. And then when we get to the long bio, this is like the big boy here. We've got, I added in similar start. You'll see we've got the same top sentence. We've got the quote, got the same big highlight, expanded a little bit on some details here, and then expanded a little bit more on some of these projects. And then I added a whole other paragraph about my work as a composer and arranger, which is not as extensive as my work. I don't really do that as much, but I did want to add that in there. So I added a composing and arranging paragraph. I added a paragraph about my work in musical theater, and then just expanded a little bit more upon the education stuff. My one complaint for myself here is that this should all be on one page. So what I should do, and I think I recently actually tweaked these and I didn't even think about it, I would adjust the margin so that it all fits on one page. And that's one thing you can work with too. So that's just a quick little dive into the way that I build my bios, and you're welcome to revisit that as you need. So from there, I think the mistakes that I mentioned to you that I thought I made were being too shy to ask somebody for a quote, having my bio on multiple pages, that's too many, forgetting to include any social media handles, very good to have those in there. So if you don't have them, go ahead. And for some people, depending on where you are, keeping anything from high school is not necessary. I sometimes add in my high school because the program that I came from is a little bit, it's sort of well known, and there are some interesting connections there. So for sometimes I'll put that high school in there, but for the most part, I would say I try to keep that to the side. And also it's easy to keep too many versions of bios on hand for different things. So if Jazz at Lincoln Center might ask me for a bio for a well-rounded musician, and at the same time, Perhaps I'm building a bio for my online summer jazz camp. Perhaps I'm building a bio for this and this. And each of them, I might want to tweak a bit for different things. But at some point, in my Dropbox, I've got like 20 versions of bios. So if you can, really try to consolidate and stick to one for each offering. And if you need to tweak one sentence here or there, that's great. But I would say try not to get too like flashy with too many different versions. So let's move on to resumes. And one thing I wanted to add here is that I actually keep a note on my iPhone, just like called things to add to bio and resume. And so if I'm on a gig and I, just want to make sure I add it, I'll just put in such and such a gig. Or, oh, I forgot that I played, that residency 2 years ago. I don't think I put that on my bio. So I just keep a note of those things on my phone. And then when I do finally sit down to my computer, I dump those into to my documents. So I'm keeping track of everything. So on to resumes. For me, I've been asked to submit resumes for things like auditions. When I first moved to New York, I remember I auditioned for Radio City Christmas Spectacular, and so they requested a resume. Organizations and opportunities like that will likely request a resume. Applying for adjunct college teaching positions or any teaching position, and submitting for grants, competitions, and awards are all situations where you'd probably be asked to send a resume. And a big thing that I want to highlight here is that there's a difference between a CV, a curriculum vitae, and a resume. And a CV, in jazz, I haven't been asked to submit a CV ever. Actually, one time was for a university teaching position, but it was international, and I think that was just the way that they did things. So to be safe, I keep a master spreadsheet. I know I'm again with my lists and my spreadsheets, but I keep a master spreadsheet and I just organize everything that I'm doing. So like if I have a gig, there's a gig tab, and every time I have a gig, it goes in there. If I do a master class, there's an education tab and it goes in there. If I do an educational residency, that goes in the education tab. If I do a volunteer nonprofit type thing, that goes in the community engagement tab. So I keep if I do a musical theater thing, musical theater tab. So whatever you do, whatever different avenues you're working in, whether they're paid or not, they could be volunteer, they could be something outside of music that you're passionate about, whatever kind of different avenues you have, put those in a spreadsheet as a category and really try to keep track and date everything. I remember I was at Temple University recently as a guest, and I was talking to Terrell Stafford, and he was saying a very similar thing to me about how as you go through as a faculty member applying for tenure, these universities, they always want to see absolutely everything that you've done. So even if you can just remember to grab a concert program wherever you play, even if you're in high school, start collecting those concert programs and just toss them away in a box. Because if anything ever comes up, you'll never know when it might be helpful to say, oh yeah, I played that piece in 2007 and such a whatever, there might be a connection and it might be helpful. So try to keep track of everything. And then you want to be able to pull these, for example, if you end up trying to apply for a specific education position, then you can actually build yourself a customized education resume from those materials. And you don't have to sit there building from scratch and thinking of all the teaching things that you've done, but you can just pull from that master sheet and put it on an education resume. Same thing if the next day you get asked to submit a performance specific resume, then you can pull from your performance thing. So it's just a way to keep you from getting like frantic and frazzled. I had many moments where before I kind of had this system, I would have to like quickly throw together a resume, and it wasn't always exactly what I wanted to be presenting. So different categories in a resume. Actually, I will share my template now as well. I really love my resume template, so I'm happy to share this with everybody. Let's go to screen share and Adobe Acrobat. Okay, great. So here are a few different resumes of mine, and I just put this rectangle here because that's where I usually would put my address and phone number and contact information. So here's one example. This is one example of an education-specific resume. This is from 2017. 2020, I guess. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, 2017. This is old. But you can see the categories that I've got. I've got education as one major category where I list my education and the details. Then because this is an education-centered resume, I did select teaching experience, and I listed my best teaching experience. You don't need to list absolutely everything. You really just want to put the highlights in. And then I did a leadership and community engagement section because this was an education-centered outreach situation. And then I also, just to back it up, because this particular, actually I think this was maybe for something at Jazz Lincoln Center, I needed to show some performance experience as well. So, and then I had select performance experience, and again I pulled probably 10 of the best things. And then select honors and awards is a good category to add if you can, and select presentations, any public speaking, any conference attendances, and then discography. So these categories, I'll scroll just slowly back up in case anybody is like trying to just get an idea of the formatting. You'll see I'm going to show you 3 other resumes where I essentially use the same categories, but I just tweak them a little bit. So maybe if it's a performance-centered one, the whole, most of the first page will be performance items. And a general rule of thumb is that the resume should really be 1 page. I think for this particular opportunity, I did 2 pages and it worked out fine. Nobody was mad, but generally 1 is good. So let's see, which one is this? This is a performance-centered resume because I put that at the top here. So you always want to cater to whatever the application or the organization is kind of pitching to you. So if they're, community engagement and education focused, then those are the categories that you want to put towards the top with the most meat in them, and then kind of thin out the other ones at the bottom. If it's a performance experience situation, you might want to do performance, discography, competitions, things like that, and then put your teaching at the end. So the idea, again, with that master spreadsheet is just that you can pull things as you see fit, and it makes it super easy, just like a drag and drop scenario for you whenever you're asked to submit something like this. And if you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know when I would be asked to do something like this, it's a great time for you to get it together, get these things together, because there will come a time when you get asked. I have a lot of high school students who are sort of just in the middle of getting to this phase of putting these documents together, and I think it makes you look very well prepared, very professional to have all these materials together. So it just gives you a leg up. Here's another one. This is performance centered. I think, yeah, basically all the same. And you'll see one very important thing is to keep the most recent dates towards the top and then scroll back to the older dates and just make sure you're telling the truth with everything. Don't say you've been doing something for 10 years when you haven't. And formatting, font, spacing, all of that, I try to be really particular. So I hope that helps. You're welcome to take a screenshot of formatting if that helps you. So there's the resume situation. All right. I hope that's helpful for people. And again, those important categories to include are education, select performance experience, select education experience, and then a leadership and community engagement, or maybe a leadership and work experience, maybe if you worked a summer job or something like that, and then honors and awards, presentations, and discography. So now let's talk about website. I consider that my website to be my little corner of the internet, and I'm really proud of it. And I have an amazing designer that's helped me build it. But before, I used to make all my websites myself. And the website that people go to is really where they get their first impression of you if they haven't met you. So it's very important to have it reflect you, and it can be unique and eccentric and reflect you, but it also should be clean and easy to navigate and professional. So let's see, I don't think I need to share my screen, but I'll just tell you the categories and items that I have on my website. And I spent a lot of time trying to kind of curate this to make sure it was easy for visitors. So I hope this will be helpful, even if you're, if you're an educator or a parent of somebody musical, or if you are a student or a freelancer just getting started, I hope it'll be helpful from kind of both ends of the spectrum. So on the home page, I try to give people like a nice warm welcome, update on what I'm doing immediately, like the most recent update. And then I have an about me page, a bio page, my calendar. Let's see, I can just take you through because it might be more fun for you to see what's going on here. Let's do that. All right, so here we are. So bio, the about me page, calendar, and then under music, what I did was I separated things into my projects and then my discography. So projects, I keep a running list of all the different groups that I'm working on kind of as a leader. And so this is like my Sunday night concert initiative. I got my quartet here, a quintet with my friend Lauren. I'm a member of the Diva Band and a couple other collaborations that I work on. And then this is an example of, here's where I keep all the records that I've played on. So just trying to keep everything super clean in one spot for everybody to find whatever they could possibly need. And then I have, for me, teaching is a really big thing. It's teaching and saxophone. That's my thing. And maybe music business in there too. But for you, it might be something different. Like I said, I have, my friend who designs websites is a phenomenal saxophonist and clarinetist and also an amazing web designer. So perhaps for her, this wouldn't say teaching, it could say, technology, web design, whatever it is. So this is kind of the other side of things. And then this is, let's see, this is a little passion project of mine that I'm actually launching tomorrow. This is a little travel blog. That's fun. Check that out tomorrow. Let's see. And then here's the press and the media. So this is what I really want to talk about here. And this is where I showed you bios and resumes and things like that. But also it's so important. This is what I consider to be my electronic press kit, which is what everybody's asking for these days. Whether you're approaching a local restaurant for a gig for a duo or trio, whether you're approaching, the Rochester International Jazz Festival, whether you're approaching Jazz at Lincoln Center, whether you're just trying to start something in your community, people want to get the full scope of what you're doing and they want to get it fast and quick and easy. And so now with technology, we put everything together in an electronic press kit. And so I recommend to my students, you want to have 3 to 5 really great quality professional photos in different settings, different scenes. If you do different things, play different instruments, make sure everything's well represented. And it doesn't have to be, a huge expensive photo shoot. iPhones take amazing photos these days. So you just need some good lighting and a clean professional outfit and you're good to go. These days, the clean professional outfit in quarantine can be hard to come by. I know that. And then any projects that you're on, any records, any music you're releasing, if you're a student and you have a band that you're just getting started, can you record a few demo tracks? Let me stop my screen sharing so I can see you. So if you're a student and you have a band that's just getting started, can you make a few demo tracks just to put up there of a few standards? Or if you, oh, okay, sorry, just seeing the chat here.
Yeah, Alexa, don't pay attention to the chat right now.
No problem. I got you. Eyes up here, people. No problem. Who knew this would turn into the comedy show here? Okay, great. I'll just distract. So what was I saying? The press kit. So if you're a student, if you're in high school, college, starting a band, get me 3 tracks that I can hear that really demonstrates what you're doing. And sorry, I'm a little, that was interesting.
Yeah, sorry everyone. We had a little spam situation, but the people have been kicked out.
Excellent.
How about everyone type something in the comments to
No, that's okay. I'm not looking anymore. Good vibes only, people. Well-rounded musician, good vibes only. Do not mess with Alexa Tarantino and Chloe there. Chloe's really the bouncer. She's security today. So anyway, your press kit, bios, high-resolution photos, audio clips, a list and description of your current projects, as I kind of showed you mine. And then optional would be maybe a few quotes from people that you really, maybe you have some mentors that can give you kind of some quotes to boost, and discography or appearances, but I realize that's maybe a little bit further down the line. And then just to continue kind of the conversation about the clean and professional quarantine outfit, really make sure that in any photos or any branding, any social media at all, you want to brainstorm your kind of image beforehand. It's just once you put something up online, you often can't take it back. Case in point with our spammer. So just really trying to make sure you know how you want to present yourself, what your vibe is. For me, I picked a few colors that I really liked, and that's what you see on my website, and that's kind of what I use on my social media. And I have a few colors that I really like to wear, and that's that. Keeps things simple. So that leads me into social media, and after this, we'll be able to open up for some questions. If any of you see me on social media, I wouldn't consider myself like the world's best poster on social media. Like I really, really, really try to do something every day, and my amazing assistant Maura is helps with and does a lot of that with me. And I'm happy to love answering people's messages and the DMs and things like that, and connecting with students and connecting with friends and colleagues. But I can't say that I'm not posting videos of myself every day. I don't have like a super, 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 super great track record with that. I usually know what I want to post, and then it might flip a little bit. But I would say I try to post something every day on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I actually keep an archive in my Dropbox of photos from performances that I've done, photos from master classes, photos just from meeting some of my favorite musicians, things like that. So I can try to pull things to post for people, because if someone, maybe I hope it's interesting to some people. And I also think it's a great idea to try to do something exclusive on each channel that you're on. So for me on YouTube, I try to post a video every Wednesday. It does not always happen, but I try to. And then on Instagram, that's where I really exclusively just post videos of myself playing saxophone, just solo, like practicing or whatever. And on Facebook, it's kind of a mosh of all those things. But for me, I do try to keep the branding the same across all the platforms. And again, that you can do this at any stage of your career, any stage of where you are. It's just maybe having one image, one great photo. That's your profile picture for all your outlets, and for your Gmail and your Dropbox and YouTube and everything. Keeping like the fonts and the colors and the formatting of documents all very similar. You can brainstorm hashtags. Maybe you can brainstorm like a unique hashtag for you. I was doing a masterclass recently, and somebody said, "Oh, my saxophones sound like they've been Alexified." And so for me, I was like, "That's awesome! That's such a fun term." So I've been using Alexified a lot. And maybe if you could even find the little emoji that you love, like just these little things that, to be honest, they might not make such a big deal in the grand scheme of things. And I try not to spend a zillion hours on social media every day, but these little things, they make me happy, and I think they're consistent, and they keep the branding consistent across, so that I know that when people are reading my stuff, they know that it's me, and I just hope it resonates with people. And the only other thing I'm going to add here is that I think it's really important to set time limits for yourself on social media. So I have my stuff on my phone set so that I can't spend more than 30 minutes on any of those outlets per day, and I really only use those 30 minutes for posting. So or posting or checking messages, things like that. I don't like to scroll through a ton of stuff. I just think it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole, and then the next thing you know, you've lost 2 hours. So if anybody missed my day in the life, episode 1, and wants to hear more productivity, time efficiency tips, feel free to get in touch. And in my free download, that I think Chloe dropped the link in the free download, you will see some of the apps that I like to use for social media to keep things moving. So I think for now, that's everything. I mean, other things I wanted to just encourage you to kind of check out are, cover letters. Do we all know how to write cover letters? Like great cover letters for a job opportunity, or if you're an educator or a parent, like, do you have some ideas of how a cover letter should look for your student? And maintaining a list of potential references that you can reach out to, kind of like your board of directors, because when you do get a job opportunity, you want to reach out to those people first before you ask them to give you a reference. And just for fun, I like to keep a list of people that I want to give back to. So people maybe that have recommended me for gigs, recommended me for opportunities, or offered me opportunities. I try to keep a list of those people, so that if I have an opportunity to hire someone for a gig or recommend someone for something, I want to go right to that list and make sure that I pay it forward. So let's open up for questions. I want to hear how everybody's doing.
Yes. Okay. All right, everyone. My heart is beating out of my chest, but it's fine now. Thank you again.
Virtual round of applause for Chloe. You are doing great.
Well, here's the thing is that we've been doing Zoom here at Jazz Lincoln Center for a few weeks, and it happens occasionally, but we had someone tell us that everything was fine, and then I guess it wasn't. So I think I'm going to actually not open it up unless I can see your video first. So if your hand is raised and I don't see your video, I'm not going to call on you, just because I'm still getting some weird stuff. If you want to send me a message, if you don't want to show your video but you want to ask a question to Alexa, go ahead and send me a private message and I'll relay the question. If you do want to raise your hand and talk to Alexa directly, just make sure your video is turned on so I can just double check that you are a real person. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I'm adding some things in the chat just to get us moving on the right.
Thank you. So if this person named Jane wants to ask a question, please show me that you're real by turning on your video, and I will call on you. Where are you? I'm trying to find you, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
It says that her video is on. Oh, there you are. Hello. Okay. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane. Oh,
yep.
Sorry,
See?
Chloe.
I told you. Okay, let's not do that anymore. They faked us out, those sneaky people.
That's too bad. She looked really nice.
She looked really normal and nice. Okay, a question from Joseph, who I see, and
Joseph.
I know Joseph is real. Hi, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph. Saving the day. Hi, Joseph. Yay.
Thank all of y'all for remaining so composed. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, we had a saying, never let them see you sweat, right? And I think you both did a good job of that tonight.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Okay, but I'm going to pose to you the same question I posed to Sherman last week.
Sure.
I've only been playing a couple of years. I played with a couple of bands here in Virginia. But I started a couple of years ago, but at 56, things just don't stick in this old brain like they should. So what good method do you have, or what is your recommendation for learning and retaining the skills and chords? What is a good method for that?
That's a great question. It depends. So what, for example, chords, let's go with chords. Sometimes if I want, or if you're comfortable with it, you could sing it first before playing it. That's what I do with a lot of my students. Some students aren't comfortable singing. Some people don't want to, but I find that it helps to really internalize it. So, I know when I pick up my alto, that's going to be a G dominant 7 arpeggio. And so if you're like working it out, sometimes it just helps to match like your voice to the instrument. Another thing, kind of, I know that can be a little bit, sounds like a little bit mystical, but I really am a big believer in learning by ear. So that's kind of, I have my students sing everything first before they play them. But secondly, I would say, even if you just say the notes to yourself before you play the chord, so if you're working out a bunch of arpeggios, just say to yourself, D, F sharp, A, C, and then go ahead and play it. And if it's still not happening, just do that back and forth a few times. If you are working out a passage like of a Charlie Parker tune, Confirmation, Donna Lee, something like that, if you're just working in small chunks at a time, break it down as much as you can and do the same exact thing with those phrases and try to batch them in a way that feels like a phrase, doesn't just feel like 3 random notes that you won't remember, right? You want to batch things into chunks that you will be able to remember. So like 1 or 2 measures at a time, I would say, for those types of pieces, and doing the same thing, either singing it to yourself first, putting on the record and listening to it a few times first, listening to it and fingering along at the same time. Although I know those recordings are quite fast, so maybe just singing it to yourself and fingering along. I would say like the general process, if my ideal process would be singing to yourself, singing and fingering along on the instrument at the same time, and then playing. But if you want to say things instead of sing them, that hopefully will help too.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
All right.
Thanks, Joseph. Nice to meet you.
You're welcome. Same
Thanks, Joseph. All right. The next question is going to come from another person who I know is real, and that's Vincent. Hi, Vincent.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Vincent.
Hey, and I'd like to echo what Joseph said. Chloe, you did a great job handling all that. So
Thank you.
good job. Alexa, good to talk to you. I've been following you on social media for a little bit. You're an incredible player. I guess we all know that. That's no secret to anyone here.
Oh,
But I must say that I've always admired your presentation. What I mean by that is you come across very professional and thoughtful and, just well put together as far as, your music and how you present yourself on social media from what I've seen. So kudos for that. Good job. What I wanted to get you to talk about a little bit more on the business side.
Sure.
Of course, with everything that's going on right now, nobody really knows what's going to happen in the near future. But what are your thoughts about monetizing and what's going on? I mean, what are your thoughts? Obviously, you work as a professional musician. Obviously, you're a teacher. I play professionally, and I'm a teacher as well. But what are your thoughts there as far as, okay, what can I do different? Or what do I have to look forward to? What are your plans as far as monetizing what you do in the future, not knowing what's happening? So
Yeah, that's a great question. It's on my mind all the time lately. So for one, I am releasing a record right now. So it's an interesting time to be doing that because I can't really do my tours or my CD release thing. So my plans in terms of getting the music out there and hopefully getting people to support the music are by doing live stream concerts, which I have been doing every Sunday night actually. And at the Sunday night live stream concerts that I live with piano player and composer Stephen Feifke, and so we've dubbed ourselves Alexa Tarantino and Stephen Locken Feifke, and we do these Sunday night concerts just with a small entry fee, and we've been donating 25% back to a nonprofit with a COVID relief fund for artists. But it's been a small way for us to give back, but also to bring in an audience to more of an intimate setting. People are, able to ask us questions that they might not be able to ask in a live performance setting. And people are able to kind of request themes and request songs that you often don't get to do in a live performance setting. So in terms of live stream performance, I guess I'm just trying to find the upside and the positives for that. And then outside of performance, I'm trying to continue doing masterclasses as much as I can virtually, obviously, through with schools, universities, things like that. And as the year closes, with Stephen and I did put together an online summer jazz camp called A Step Ahead Jazz. Summer Jazz Online is what the program's called. And so I've been a jazz camp director for 7 years now, and it's the highlight of my year. It's my favorite thing. And I just felt like everybody's getting their, programs canceled. Something's got to give. So I know a lot of people are doing that, monetizing, trying to flip to the education to online. But the other things that come to mind in terms of monetizing, I just launched some career consultation bookings on my website. So like if people normally reach out to me to book a private lesson, and now they can book for an Ask Alexa, like career consultation session. Because that is one of my things. There's like the saxophone, the teaching, and then the business that I really like. And so for somebody else, or for you, it could be a totally different thing, but just trying to find a way to mesh that. Other than that, I would say like sheet music sales, transcriptions, and then like holding virtual master classes are things I'm thinking about. A lot of people are jumping on the ball with these things, but that's kind of everything that's floating around.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
Thanks, Vincent. All right, next question comes from a Jazz Lincoln Center Masterclass regular, Les Rose.
Yay,
hey,
hi,
Les.
Les.
I'm a regular. It's a nice club to be a part of, I must say.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. And Vincent, great question. Great question.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah. So your website is just incredible, absolutely incredible. And what you've got going, your enterprise, as I call it, is you are navigating these times like just an absolute master. So good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Les.
Couple of little questions, and I think people might be interested as well on that business side. So this may be a little one or may be a significant one. I noticed that you have a little logo of yourself.
Yeah.
So the question is, and the Step Ahead Camp seems
Yes.
to have a little logo.
Yes.
So that's two separate logos.
Yes.
So how significant is a logo? And just curious about was that at a bar mitzvah? Did someone do a little thing at a bar mitzvah and you said, that should be my logo?
Honestly, maybe that's totally possible. I have that's so funny, like one of those party favors that you take home. I love that. So I think I had the logo made a few years ago, and I just I don't know. I'm just into the whole thing of looking super clean, having everything match across the board, and I just felt like I wanted a thing at the end of my emails, like an email footer signature. And I was thinking, maybe it's time to do a logo. I was ramping up the website, starting to do CD sales, and starting to post on social media more. And so I found actually, and I've linked my web designer, and I will link my logo designer as well in case this helps anybody. But I knew what I wanted, which was that I wanted my hair and my saxophone to be the things, just because I felt like those are distinct. So
Fabulous.
So there we go. That's what that was. And if anybody's interested, tomorrow when I announce the Alexa Abroad, the travel blog, if you go on my website, the logo is there at the top center. And then if you click travel, you'll see that my logo designer, she made me a travel logo. So I have like the Eiffel Tower in the back with the beret and the planes, and it is fabulous. I have to say, I love that. So it's just fun. That stuff makes me happy. But I mean, I don't think it's necessary for everybody to have a logo. I mean, if you want to, if students, if they feel that helps with their branding, I think that's great. I don't think it's necessary until you're really starting to do sales, products, merchandise, CDs, trying to kind of develop a fan base globally or nationally across the country as you're touring, and kind of trying to develop like your signature look. So that was the period in my time, in my career, in my performing, when I started doing that. Before that, I'm not sure it's so necessary.
Right. So you don't see that going on to T-shirts and hats in the near future?
I'm brainstorming. I'm brainstorming about what item. There's going to be an item coming soon. I can feel it. I'm not sure if it's going to be T-shirts or hats. If anybody has suggestions for appropriate items, please feel free to drop them. I was thinking coasters, maybe a mug. We'll see.
Masks,
exactly.
What else?
I know. That's the thing. That's the hot ticket.
And then what about the logo for the camp? That's obviously a text logo, but it does have a, music line. So where does that fit into your design plan? And, and I hope this is something that everyone could get something out of. I think these, because what you're doing is just, these little things. Don't we all wish we invented the Nike swoosh?
I know. I know. No, I appreciate you asking, and I'm really glad that you noticed, because so when we decided to do a step ahead, really, basically when the quarantine hit, I knew that my summer program was going to be canceled, and we just wanted to do something to get ahead of the curve. And in terms of that, we kind of drew, I just love to draw little things. And so I kind of we doodled it out together with bounced some ideas back and forth. And Stephen actually had a friend who designed it for us. And we were kind of working very quickly to get the website up, get things running. So the Step Ahead website, Stephen really we did spend a whole weekend on Squarespace, and his website's on Squarespace. Mine is on WordPress, and Janelle Reichman, who I linked, she manages that.
Amazing.
So we just built a Step Ahead very quickly, very fast. And we actually I wanted it to be something completely different from my stuff. So almost that if you found a Step Ahead on your own, you might not know that I was involved. But that it was like a separate thing that I'm 50, like we're 50-50 in, but also maintaining the individuality of the Alexa Tarantino. I mean, I do have grand plans. Don't get me wrong, Les. I have grand plans for like my own school and my own all that stuff. But a step ahead, we were thinking, let's make a separate educational platform where we can host programs underneath that we can advertise to our audiences, but also potentially grow a third audience.
Great. And so you see that logo and a competitive advantage as you're launching this online summer camp.
Yeah, I knew we needed a logo because I think that for some reason, maybe to people who wouldn't know us, from anybody, and there are many people that we hope to reach, and I'm sure that wouldn't know who we are. I think having the logo just gives like a look of credibility, clean website, clean, business model, just looking very professional, looking like you've been established for a while, even though you were thrown together in a weekend.
Great job. And Janelle is an amazing saxophone player as well.
Yes.
And what a web designer. Oh my goodness.
Yes, she's incredible. Yeah. So anybody interested, please feel free. She's awesome.
So thank you so much. At another time, I'll, ask a question maybe about how you come up with your price points for things, but I want to make sure everyone gets in their questions.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Les.
Plenty. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Les. Okay, I see you, Scott, but can you, if you can hear my voice, can you raise your thumb? Can you put up 3 fingers? Okay. Hi, Scott.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Oh, hi,
Alexa.
Scott. We know Scott.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Really enjoying the series. Thank you very much. One question I was thinking of asking you, it's from a few episodes back, but the first question kind of reminded me of it a little bit. It's about trying to memorize a tune. And I think you said you hummed the bass line, and that kind of intrigued me because, first of all, bass lines are really low, and are you humming an arpeggio? Are you humming the walking? So I was wondering if you could just explain that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Please.
So this is what I think is actually, so I have this process that I go through and that I take my students through, but it works for any tune, whether somebody's learning C jam blues or whether somebody's working on giant steps. And after learning the melody, just to catch everybody up, after learning the melody by ear and listening to all the definitive recordings and figuring out what the song form is, like AABA or 12-bar blues, whatever it is, after learning the melody, to me, the most important thing is to learn the bass line. And I do this exercise called roots and rhythms. And so what it is so to just directly answer that question, Scott, I literally just play the roots. And I do usually sing it to myself first. And it is low, yeah, but I'm just thinking, let's think of a song here. So if I'm just doing a blues, right? So that's a little, that was out of tune. It was supposed to be concert B flat, but I'm not perfect. So I'll literally just go through and do that, and I'll do that a lot. And then from there, I'll expand to the arpeggios. Right? Just to get all the 1, 3, 5, 7s through and I know it sounds, the blues sounds elementary. I like maybe to go through those, but if you're doing like giant steps or a bird tune or something like that, it just helps to dust off any cobwebs. And then I will work on playing as if I'm the bass player. So do 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 And so that was the first 8 bars of I've never been in love before. So that's just like working on, after understanding all the chord tones, all the 1, 3, 5, 7s, or whatever particular alterations maybe I need to know, I will go through as if like I was going to accompany another horn player in a duo setting. And so really work on the downbeats, on 1 and 3, landing on chord tones and using beats 2 and 4 as approach notes, maybe from a half step above, half step below, whatever it might be. Maybe finding little motives that I can develop in the bass line itself, little sequences and things like that. And so I find that really helps to determine how I am improvising on top of all of this. Like when the rhythm section is doing its thing, I just find it helps to give my harmony a clear sense of direction and voice leading when you have an understanding of what's actually going on underneath. And when you know what the bass player is doing, the exciting thing about it, at least it's exciting to me, is that because you're aware of what's happening, you can create tension and release by, creating contrary motion with the shape of your lines, contrary motion with the direction of the lines, with the choices that you're making with alterations and things like that.
Great, thank you. That was a great explanation. Thanks very much.
Of course.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, we have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Awesome.
But before we get to those, I just want to say thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying cool through all that. And please make sure to join us again for more sessions of The Well-Rounded Musician. We promise they'll be a little more chill than this. And not that this wasn't chill, just like a couple little speed bumps. We also have other live events that we'll be hosting for free throughout the coming weeks, including masterclasses, concerts, lessons, interactive conversations, and more. A new episode of The Well-Rounded Musician will be streamed live every Thursday at the same time. Next week will be part 1 of a 2-parter, Developing Your Musicality. Alexa will talk about defining your role as a musician and an educator, defining your career plan, and maintaining the mentality of an eternal student. For a full list of upcoming events and archive concerts, please check out our hub, online hub at Lincoln Center, jazz.org. You can find calendars and things there. And the last thing I'll say is, if it's within your means, please consider making a donation to Jazz at Lincoln Center. We are a nonprofit organization in New York City. We continue to be committed to entertaining, enriching, and expanding our global community for jazz. Contributions of any amount are extremely meaningful, and to our supporters and donors, we cannot thank you enough. You can follow us on social media, Jazz at Lincoln Center on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, jazz.org, DOT spelled out. So let's take a next question from Izzy. Hi, Izzy.
Hi, Izzy.
Hello. Don't worry, I'm a real person.
I know that.
We know you.
Yeah, these past few sessions have all been really inspiring, and I'm also really excited for the Summer Jazz Online camp.
Thank you.
So I know during this whole situation, educating others is really important, and I've also been interested in maybe giving lessons or master classes. So I wanted to know, what's your approach to giving a master class or like something like this where it's live?
Great question. I prepare like all day for this because I'm really excited, and I just want to make sure that I give everybody all the information, and I want it to be just as packed and informative as possible. So my Thursdays are really spent on this. But I think it's also because things are changing so rapidly right now that the information is changing. I want to try to give people the most applicable information that I can to what's happening right now. So for you, I would say, if you're preparing for a live teaching situation, like a private lesson, perhaps, you certainly don't need to prepare all day, but I definitely go in with a lesson plan, some type of outline for a private lesson. I always allow a little bit of time at the top of the session for getting, just catching up and getting settled, and then always allow some time at the end for questions and for wrapping up. But I try to have 3 main objectives for everything, even down to these classes or these lectures. I've tried to give everybody 3 takeaways and like that sort of a tagline, an inspirational tagline, make it happen, just to send people off in good spirits. And so I think if you can develop your own like Izzy style presentation, come up with like your own tagline and your own sort of model for your outline. If you want to have 3 takeaways or 3, you know, 2 to 3 things that really are important. I think that's a great way to get started, just to have an outline. And then you can think, like, reflect on what you're really good at, where your strengths lie, and make a list of like 5 to 10 topics of things that you feel like you would rock in a setting like this. It could be, you know, something particular on your instrument. It could be something perhaps in education that you're really strong with. It could be an entrepreneurial thing, like perhaps you set up, I know I gave the analogy of setting up something in soup kitchens in one's community. So maybe you're involved in the community in some way. Come up with a list of things that you know you would rock in a live situation. And I think starting with those types of topics will help ease you into live presentation. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, Izzy. Okay, let's take a question from the chat. This question is from Anonymous, but it is a real question. This question is geared towards social media. How do you deal with the confidence of posting social media, being that it's this permanent thing out there for many people to see? And with that in mind, how do you balance posting content you're really happy with? Getting so much into re-recording in multiple takes because you think you could have played something a little better or whatnot.
Right, yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm honestly just getting comfortable posting like practice videos on Instagram. You know how like all the saxophone players take videos of themselves just playing through stuff at home. I really didn't used to do that. I used to only kind of post live performance things. And now I just figure, because we're in such a strange time, it's like, okay, why not? You know, let me just try it. So I'm actually trying to work on that. I'm trying to get better at like not really caring about not being so particular, I should say, about what take I'm doing and how perfect it sounds, because that's not real. And if I were playing on a performance, if I were improvising, whatever I improvise in the moment, it's out there forever, and then I have to let it go. So when I do these little videos on Instagram, I might be in the middle of practicing, and like the other day I was playing a tune called A Fine Romance, and I thought to myself, oh, I haven't made a video, you know, for Instagram in a while. I'm working on this right now. Why don't I just play the melody? And I did do a few takes because I like wasn't super happy with some of the things that I did. And it is a good exercise for me because I'm sometimes working out different stuff, or I'm trying a few takes with different ideas. Maybe I try with a few different shapes that I'm improvising with, something like that. But I try not to be super picky about going back. If I can just do something in one take, I'll just do it. I really prefer not to spend, if I do multiple takes, I guess what I'm trying to say, if I do multiple takes, it's because I'm trying different things, trying different approaches. And I would encourage everybody just to remember that like what we really do is supposed to be live on stage for people. To make them feel something. And so, you know, the difference between take 1 and take 5, I don't think is going to be so drastic for a 60-minute Instagram video. So just think about like how much time you want to spend on that end of things, when you could spend, you know, the 5 to 15 minutes that you spend scrolling through different takes, you could have already posted that and you could have moved on to working on something else. So just try to conserve your time and your mental energy and be kind to yourself, I think, in those situations.
Awesome. This person says thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, I think that's all we have time for. We're at 5 after 10. I just want to thank Alexa for doing this and thank all of you for joining. We'll see you next week, and please make sure to check us out on social media and our website. We'll be here for you, offering lots of fun events and classes and things. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and I'll turn it over to Alexa to say goodbye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chloe. You are the real MVP of tonight. Thank you all for watching and for staying and coming to see every Thursday night. I really appreciate it. I just want to recap that our 3 takeaways from today for anybody that is following me through the series are to, number 1, build your 3 bios or tweak them if you already have them. Number 2 is build a CV spreadsheet so that you can pull things for different specific resumes. If you can, just get started on that. And then brainstorm your branding. What do you want to be presenting to people on your website, on your press kit, in your photos. What adjectives, colors, words, vibes really resonate with you? And then go out and make it happen. So that's that. Feel free to sign up for my 10 apps that I'm using in quarantine. Here's the link, and hope to see you next time.
Yay. Okay, well, I'll put the link in because you sent it to the waiting room.
Whoops.
There you go.
My bad. Oh, I also should have added, did I add that okay, hold on, everybody. Also, Chloe, will you send them my record?
Yes, I did. I threw
you
it
did.
in there. I threw it in there, but I'll do it again.
Amazing. You guys, my record's coming out June 5th, but it's exclusive pre-order phase right now. So I have the copies for anybody who wants to get it before everybody else gets it in the world. So you'll be able to get it exclusively through me for the next 2 weeks. Yay. Thanks, all of you.
Amazing. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Take care. Bye, Alexa.
Bye, Chloe. You are a star.
You are. Bye.